Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus is remembered as the man who connected Europe and the Americas, but his legacy splits sharply between achievement and atrocity. In 1492, sailing for Spain, he crossed the Atlantic believing he could reach Asia by going west. Instead, he landed in the Caribbean, on islands now part of the Bahamas and Hispaniola, marking the beginning of European colonization and global exchange. His navigational skill was advanced for his time. Using dead reckoning, celestial estimates, and Atlantic trade winds, he created a repeatable route that opened transatlantic travel. This triggered the Columbian Exchange, transferring crops, animals, and diseases between hemispheres. It revolutionized agriculture and diet, but also caused demographic collapse among indigenous peoples through smallpox and measles. As governor of Hispaniola, Columbus imposed brutal tribute systems. Natives who failed to deliver gold or labor faced torture or death. Chroniclers like Bartolomé de las Casas documented enslavement and mass killing. Spain arrested Columbus in 1500 for cruelty. He was freed but never reinstated. To some, he remains a pioneering navigator. To others, the harbinger of genocide. Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson, author of the Declaration of Independence and America's third president, embodied the nation's greatest ideals and its deepest hypocrisy. He wrote that all men are created equal, yet enslaved more than 600 people during his lifetime. Jefferson doubled U.S. territory through the Louisiana Purchase, sent Lewis and Clark to chart the West, and championed Enlightenment principles, reason, education, and limited government. Yet his personal life betrayed his words. At Monticello, enslaved labor sustained his estate. DNA evidence confirms he fathered children with Sally Hemings, an enslaved woman who could not consent under bondage. He also advanced policies that pushed Native Americans from their lands. His Empire of Liberty largely excluded them and African Americans alike. Jefferson remains both the architect of liberty and an enduring symbol of contradiction. Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi led India's independence struggle through nonviolent resistance, known as ahimsa. His marches, boycotts, and hunger strikes mobilized millions and inspired movements from South Africa to the U.S. Civil Rights era. Yet his legacy is complicated. Early in South Africa, Gandhi described black Africans as uncivilized and resisted sharing facilities with them, revealing racial prejudice. In India, critics say his pacifism slowed liberation and idealized suffering. His celibacy experiments, sleeping beside young women, including relatives, to test self-control, sparked ethical outrage. Still, Gandhi's strategy of civil disobedience reshaped global protest, proving that disciplined moral force could challenge empire without violence. His life demonstrates how visionary principles can coexist with human failings. Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill guided Britain through World War II with unmatched oratory and resolve. His wartime leadership helped defeat Nazi Germany and preserve Western democracy. But Churchill's record as an imperialist casts a darker shadow. He viewed white civilization as superior and opposed self-rule for colonies. During the 1943 Bengal famine, which killed over 3 million Indians, he diverted food to British troops and dismissed the crisis, blaming Indians for breeding like rabbits. He endorsed harsh repression of uprisings in Kenya, Iraq, and India, and once supported using chemical weapons on uncivilized tribes. Churchill remains both a hero of freedom and a product of empire. His courage undeniable, his prejudice equally real. Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr. reshaped America through nonviolent protest, leading movements that dismantled segregation and advanced civil rights. His "I Have a Dream" speech became a global symbol of justice. FBI surveillance exposed his extramarital affairs and sought to destroy him through blackmail. Critics cite these as moral failings. Supporters see them as evidence of targeted harassment by a hostile state. Later, King denounced the Vietnam War and economic inequality, moves that alienated former allies but deepened his legacy as a moral visionary. His life reveals both extraordinary leadership and ordinary imperfection, yet his pursuit of justice remains unmatched. Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa founded the Missionaries of Charity to care for the poorest in Kolkata. Her simple life and global mission earned her the Nobel Peace Prize in sainthood. Yet medical experts and volunteers criticized her homes for poor hygiene, lack of pain relief, and glorification of suffering. Donations worth millions often failed to improve conditions. She also opposed contraception and abortion, prioritizing doctrine over public health. Her compassion inspired millions, but debate persists over whether her work alleviated poverty or sanctified it. Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein revolutionized science with relativity, redefining space, time, and energy. His equation E equals mc squared transformed physics and enabled nuclear technology. Politically, he denounced nationalism and racism, supported socialism, and later regretted his indirect role in the atomic bomb after urging Roosevelt to begin nuclear research. His private letters revealed infidelity and emotional detachment, including strained relations with his first wife, Mileva Maric. Despite personal flaws, Einstein's intellect reshaped how humanity understands the universe, proof that moral imperfection does not erase intellectual greatness. Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon Bonaparte rose from soldier to emperor, modernizing France through reforms that still define civil law. The Napoleonic Code established legal equality, secular rule, and administrative efficiency. Yet his wars consumed Europe, killing millions. He reinstated slavery in French colonies, censored dissent, and crowned himself emperor. His invasions devastated nations while spreading revolutionary ideals. Napoleon remains both modernizer and despot, a man who built a new legal order but pursued glory at a catastrophic cost. Karl Marx. Karl Marx's theories reshaped global politics. In the Communist Manifesto and Das Kapital, he argued that history is a struggle between classes, the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, and predicted capitalism's collapse. His vision inspired revolutions in Russia, China, and beyond, but those regimes often produced dictatorship and repression. Critics blame Marx's rejection of private property for enabling tyranny. Supporters insist his ideas were distorted by authoritarian rulers. He called religion the opium of the people, seeing it as a tool that numbed the poor to injustice. Marx remains both prophet of social justice and originator of ideologies that led to mass suffering. Che Guevara. Ernesto Che Guevara, an Argentine doctor turned revolutionary, fought beside Fidel Castro to overthrow Cuba's Batista regime. As a minister afterward, he led land reforms and oversaw executions of regime collaborators, earning both praise and condemnation. He later sought to export revolution to Africa and South America, dying in Bolivia in 1967 after capture by CIA-assisted forces. Che's face became a global symbol of defiance, yet his methods, violent, dogmatic, and intolerant of dissent, revealed authoritarian instincts. He remains celebrated by some as a freedom fighter and reviled by others as a zealot. Henry Ford. Henry Ford transformed industry with the moving assembly line, making cars affordable to ordinary Americans. His Model T revolutionized transport, and his $5 a day wage doubled the average income, creating a loyal middle class. But Ford was also a virulent anti-Semite. Through his paper, The Dearborn Independent, he spread conspiracy theories later cited by Nazi propagandists. Hitler admired him and displayed his portrait. Ford violently opposed labor unions. His security forces assaulted organizers in the 1937 Battle of the Overpass. Despite these abuses, his innovations shaped modern manufacturing, proving that progress and prejudice can share the same mind. Pablo Picasso. Pablo Picasso, co-founder of Cubism, redefined art through relentless experimentation. His 1937 painting Guernica became an enduring anti-war symbol. Yet Picasso's private life was destructive. He manipulated and demeaned women, calling them goddesses or doormats. Several of his partners suffered breakdowns. Françoise Gillot described him as both genius and tormentor. Though a communist by affiliation, he lived in wealth and comfort. His art remains revolutionary, but his behavior raises enduring questions about separating creative brilliance from personal cruelty. Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud founded psychoanalysis, proposing that behavior stems from unconscious drives and repressed desires. His talking cure reshaped psychology, making therapy conversational rather than physical. However, Freud's theories, like the Oedipus complex and penis envy, are criticized as unscientific and sexist. Many of his ideas were based on limited case studies and cannot be tested empirically. Still, his vocabulary, ego-id repression, pervades modern thought. Freud stands as both pioneer and flawed theorist whose influence outlived his science. King Leopold II of Belgium privately owned the Congo Free State, claiming to bring civilization but ruling through terror. Under his regime, millions of Congolese were forced to collect rubber under threat of mutilation or death. Villages that failed to meet quotas saw hostages taken and hands cut off as proof of punishment. Between 10 and 15 million died through killing, starvation, and disease. International outrage led Belgium to seize the colony from Leopold in 1908. He built much of modern Brussels from Congo's blood wealth, leaving behind monuments funded by atrocity. Leopold symbolizes how empire's grandeur often stood on human suffering.